I was trying to figure out who I am, like just feeling alone, feeling like there's, not much hope. And I'm just grinding, getting through it.
He's not just lighting up homes, he's electrifying the industry. Nate Willard of Glow Smart Lighting is turning everyday exteriors into dazzling year-round displays of brilliance. Welcome to the Grindcast.
Thank you for having me.
All right, this is awesome. Yes, thank you. We're gonna have a good time here. So first up, tell us a little bit about glow lights, because I know you're doing some permanent lighting and you've got a little bit of a different approach to it, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about glow lights.
Yeah. So, the industry in general is a lot newer. Kind of came about like 10 years ago when people started experimenting with stuff. And, I always thought like, how cool would it be to have the lights change color? Because I was doing Christmas lights when I was 14 years old.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So I'd like switch out bulbs. Be like, yeah, for Halloween, I'll put Halloween lights on there for you and I'll charge extra for it. And it just didn't seem to work. And then one day I saw this truck roll up and start installing these permanent lights. And I'm just like, yeah, that's how it happened with my dim. So for the next 5 years, then I kind of just got super involved. I worked for one of the biggest franchises of a permanent lighting business in Utah County for a year. Kind of moved my way up, capped out in terms of potential. And then I moved down to Southern Utah and got involved with the community there, worked for a really big company. And I just kept reaching this spot where I was just like, okay, there needs to be more innovation. There needs to be more make in this. Because, unfortunately, in a lot of industries are like this, where it's just like, how much revenue can we do? How much profit is there? And quality kind of takes a back seat. So our whole thing is just like high quality installs, great customer service, and then innovating as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So with permanent lights, and then you have an app that you can change colors or do whatever with it, right? Like what all are you able to do with these lights?
Yeah. So anything you want to do. My favorite thing that you can do with the lights is you can customize like the peaks and corners of the house. So at my house, I've got like 4 peaks and then like 4 corners. So I have the lights turned on just in those areas because I don't have can lights. And people will spend thousands of dollars to get these can lights on their house. And
So you can have that look without having the camera.
100%. And even like, there's this one spot right above my house numbers where I have it turned on. So that way it lights up my house numbers at night. And it's just really classy.
Cool.
So that's my favorite thing that I can do. And obviously there's innovation and things that are changing in the industry, like motion sensors, that's something we're working on. So it senses a human body and then the lights turn on.
Oh, cool.
Music is another cool feature that gets into music and stuff. But
Is that a feature it does now?
yeah, it's pretty rudimentary and very basic. But even with AI in the past 2 years, see how far we've come. I'd imagine that we're pretty close to really good music feature.
So whatever the holiday is, you can click a button, change the lighting.
Yep. Any other holidays, no more hanging Christmas lights. It's like a 30-year lifespan on the lights. So
Wow.
yeah,
If it's an older home and you want that look where it has can lights but it doesn't, then just totally no settings and they have the same thing.
Yeah, or even have them in tandem. They look great both ways.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, let's. So you've got a gallery on your website. Is that just some pictures of of some of the projects?
Some of the projects.
Check them out.
Yeah, let's go check them out.
Let's do it. Check over there and we'll hit gallery. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, this little
pieces there. That looks awesome there.
Yeah, they're really bright, which is fun.
Yeah.
We did lights for, I don't even know if it's on here yet.
That looks cool right there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And then I know with so you made a change to the quality of the construction of the actual lights, or like, I guess the unit that goes up there. Because I know we were talking about that a little while ago. What's different about that?
Yeah, so the power unit itself, a lot of guys are just using directly, these control units, they're just directly tied into power.
Okay.
And there's nothing in between the high voltage electricity protecting the low voltage current. So what we have is a box that actually separates that and puts it on a breaker.
Okay.
So if for whatever reason, and it happens, things expand and contract, like if wires ever grounded out or something got cut or whatever, it's not just going to sit there and heat up and burn the house down, which we're actually installing lights on a house that get burned down from a permanent lighting install.
And they wanted lights again?
Yeah. Well, and they wanted the right kind of look
Yeah,
at.
right.
So they did research and they saw my video about like our control units and how it prevents a fire hazard, and they're like, oh, perfect, that's exactly what we need.
That makes sense. Explain really quick for everybody why high voltage causes that the fire.
So essentially what's happening is you're plugging into a wall outlet, which is high voltage, right? But our lights are low voltage. So you've got to convert the high voltage to low voltage, and there's a unit in there that does that conversion.
Yeah.
Okay. But even if it's low voltage, it's just like water, dripping on a wood floor. Eventually it's going to burn its way through, right? So if the low voltage wires are touching, they can heat up to, hundreds and even thousands of degrees and light stuff on fire. Like it'll just completely heat up and it won't stop. So having that little safety feature is really good, especially here in Southern Utah.
I mean, really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because nobody wants their house.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy. I hadn't heard of that.
Where you wouldn't know either. A good thing too is that like you can have a really good product, which I believe we do. But you can install it incorrectly and all of a sudden it's awful. Like you're going to hate your lights, you're going to hate the company. So even if we did have the best product and we didn't give that quality install, then, you're kind of out of luck. You got a bad product now.
Got it. That makes sense.
So good to have both.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's scary for those that have permanent lights. If they don't have something like that, and it's like,
yeah. And there's one company in particular, but I mean, a majority of people have got good intentions, but there's parasites out there that they come in and they knock your door, steal your money, and then install this awful product on your $2 million home. Like I've got an entire gallery on my phone of these awful installs, and it just makes me so sad because I'm like, Southern Utah is my home, and these are my neighbors, and people are getting scammed. And
what's awful about those installs?
A lot of what we do is cutting metal.
Okay.
So if you have some high school kid that was just hired after 2 weeks of training to go drill holes and install these lights and cut metal on our $2 million home, you can imagine there's, a lot to it. Like the guys that cut fascia and do gutters, they've been doing it a long time, right? But they're not playing with electricity either. So you have the cutting the metal, which takes a long time to figure out. And now you're adding electricity to it. Yeah, now you're adding electricity to it. And it's just like, what do you do, It's really hard to navigate that.
So then the cuts just don't look very, they
don't look good. And then if you have cuts that are poking wires too, that's where it's difficult.
Oh, the fire cuts are not good. Yeah, cut her short. Yeah, something. Yeah, so we got to pay attention to that. Okay,
definitely.
What's one of the coolest projects that you worked on with this?
We just recently, our favorite one was the community center / police station in Willard.
Cool.
So it was an old white church is what it used to be called. And it was a big church chapel, church building, and the police station was attached to it. So we did a lot of lights around that whole building because they really like to get involved in the community over there. So for graduation, they had like red and white lights for the, Hurricane High School. And
oh, cool.
For Easter, they had Easter lights on. So it's really good for businesses that want to, have some sort of billboard of, hey, we're supporting the community. Like on Memorial Day, you can have red, white, and blue.
Oh, that's cool.
Or, during the, whatever event that's happening, you can celebrate that way and show your support. Yeah, it was a really fun project.
Have you had any really challenging installs?
Yeah, that one was challenging. If you go and see it, it seriously looks like a castle, right? So you've got these big, chunky, thick track that you're trying to cut around these spires. We had to cut the same track like 30 times probably, and it took us like 4 days to do it.
Wow.
So, but that's the other thing that I've learned from doing lights and with life is that you cannot overthink the whole thing. You just have to look at, okay, what's next? So you make a plan, right? There's the spiritual creation and then there's the physical creation, right? So you make a plan in your head, how it's supposed to look, where you're going to install the wires, what's going to be the start wire, where it's going to jump to. And then the physical creation is just step by step. Okay, well, let's do this part. All right, that wasn't so bad. Let's do this next part. Okay, that wasn't so bad. And, I learned that on this. Luckily, I already knew that by this project, but I learned that on a house in Washington. Guy owns all the McDonald's in Southern Utah. So we called it the McMansion. It was huge, like 1,000 feet of lights. And every day I showed up, it took us like 3 weeks. I was like, how are we going to do this? Like, how are we going to do this? And like each day we just did it. Yeah. I'm like, wow. So it's kind of like life, right? Each day you just got to focus on. So you plan your week and you plan your month, you plan your year, but like each day it's just, okay, gotta do this right now. Gotta do this one tomorrow. This one, like, it's just,
What was intimidating about that one? Was it just because it was like one of the largest projects that
Yeah. So this was, and just to clarify, this was when I was working with another company. So I was installing the lights, but they weren't my lights.
Okay.
I don't want to take credit for something that wasn't my company necessarily, but he had 8 different Wi-Fi controllers, and he had 6 different power units, and like a casita over here, pool house, full house wrap, like huge peaks, like leaning ladders at 45-degree angles, at like, strapping ladders on top of other ladders, like just crazy, right? The pre-wire itself took like 2.5 weeks, and
Just don't send that to the insurance.
I know. Luckily, I wasn't on those ladders. And I rent a lift is what I do. I thought those guys were crazy. Like they'll put ladders inside of truck beds and tie off to ropes and stuff. So we stay super safe. In fact, the biggest project I did personally, we rented a man lift. It was really smooth.
Yeah, that sounds way better.
Yeah.
Ladders upon ladders.
So no more risk in life. It's called calculated risk. There's risk and there's calculated risk. So
Or there's reckless.
that's right. Yep. So we're trying not to do that one.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how did you get into, I mean, have you always been entrepreneurial? Have you always been kind of in business, or how did you get into that? Was it?
So when I was 14, I kind of got introduced to Christmas lights, and I thought I was like making out like a bandit. I was getting paid $15 an hour to install Christmas lights. I'm like, this is stupid, man. Like, this is crazy. And sometimes I hate to admit it, I'd sit up on the roof for an extra 10 minutes and just hang out and be like, ooh, this is like doing calculations, how much money I'm making just sitting on this roof, right? And then more neighbors loved it. They're just like, come do my lights, come do my lights. But eventually I got introduced to a business partner at the time who taught me how to do like the custom cut stuff. I'm like, perfect, this is what I want. So then we were doing big projects like, $1 million houses and stuff with these Christmas lights.
You were just regular lights?
These regular Christmas lights. And well, that's how I started off, was what I could buy at the store. But usually when the homeowner provides you with something, it's like each house is a new issue as to what they provided you with. So having that consistency of, okay, this is custom cut. I can actually map out the house and have that really professional look. So I ran with that for like 5 years of just doing the temporary lights, and made some good money. I didn't ever actually file, actually start a business. It was just on the side, right? I was going to college, I was going to school, and Christmas lights was just easy money in the winter. But I'm like, there's something more,
Would you go just install them and then take them back down at the end? Okay.
Yeah. And there's companies that they do, each year they do 800,000 in revenue, and, they got 10 employees just doing Christmas lights. But, I like this industry a lot more, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. That's fascinating. So when you were doing some that were custom, then were you taking some of those lights that you buy at the store and you were cutting into the wires and splicing them together?
Yeah. Okay. So we had like a wholesaler that would give us the professional, like, 1,000-foot spool of cord with the sockets, and then you would just custom order colors of bolts. So then someone says, oh, I want red and white. Perfect. Red, white, red, white, red, white. And someone wants a different pattern. You can customize it that way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
And then you take it down, but then they still have all the lights, so then they can just put it back up next year.
Yep.
And you can. Okay, that was awesome. So you got into those at about 14, and then through later, it sounds like maybe the later teen years was when you were still doing that style. Okay.
Yeah. And then I got really into self-development at one point in my life. And to give you some background, like, while this is all happening, I am going through some of the hardest mental struggles of my life, right? Just don't know what's going on. Like, you're a young kid, 16, 17 years old, and all of a sudden this like wave of depression and fear and anxiety and, whatever else it is starts hitting me. So, I find comfort in friends that don't have my best interest in mind. We're just going out partying. Like, in any drug, substance, or way to be reckless you can name, like I was doing at the time. And it got to the point, oh, totally, yeah. Like, it was just complete recklessness.
Well, your parents know.
Yeah.
Okay, good, because not they do know.
Do they know that?
They do know. They knew, but I'm sure any parent would understand that even if you do know, there's still that uncertainty of like what's actually going on, right? There's something more that's happening. And it was just so dark and so like deep of despair that I was just ready at age 17 to just like I was done. Like I was going to go both feet into the world of, I don't know, whatever it was. I thought like, oh, I wanted to be a rapper or I want to be a DJ and I'm just going to go into it both feet. I'm going to move out. I'm going to be homeless. I don't care. And then like that moment, I was just like at odds with myself. And I know I looked up to the sky and I just shouted, I'm like, you know what? If you want me to stop this, like send an angel to stop me. Like I'm going to do this. I'm going to become an awful person. And like, if you want me to stop, and send an angel to stop me. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like looking around.
Where's the angel?
Where is that? And I'm like, there's nothing. So I keep doing it. And like, I hear this voice. It's just like, stop. I'm like, stop. What are you talking about? No, stop. But I'm like, I'm still doing this. And then like out of the blue, I just get a knock on my door. And like, it was a Sunday. My family was at church. My dad was the bishop at the time of our church. And he in the middle of church, gets off the stand, drives home, knocks on my door, and he pokes his finger on my chest and he says, you have so much potential. Don't you ever throw that away. If you want something in life, you got to go and get it. Wow. Before I could say anything, he shut the door and he drove back to church. And in that moment,
You're like, he's my angel.
100%. That's exactly what happened. And I just instantly went on YouTube. I said, how to make money, how to be rich. And I just started, and they said, read books. I started reading books. Last week, I'm like, oh, and well, now they're saying exercise. Okay, I'm gonna start exercising. Like, oh, now it says you have to wake up early. Okay, I'm gonna start waking up. I just got obsessed. And like, it was as if this person finally met the person like who I was supposed to be. And I was just in line with like who I was for those 2 years. And like my whole goal now is just like, how can I feel in line with who I truly am as much as possible? So
what was it that made it to where, because it seemed like you had this moment where you were ready for something. You were ready for some sort of change or even confirmation or something, right? What was it that ignited that like, okay, there's got to be a change that's made here. So, and the reason why I asked that, like there's kids I think that are in that, but if they're not ready for that change yet, it's like you can try to provide the tools and everything to kind of help them get through it. But if they're not ready for the change, it's like it doesn't click yet.
Yeah, that's hard because I've been in situations where I know I need to change, but it's like I'm waiting for something to happen, right? And maybe that's what people are doing. They're waiting for something to happen, or hoping that there's something out there that's going to click or externally act on them to help them change. And in my life, I found, that happens. But it has to be the spiritual creation I was talking about. You have to first decide in your mind, like, this is what I want. And for whatever reason, it just happens. For example, 1 week ago, I just had a very strong feeling I need to be more involved with public speaking. Like I prayed, I said, give me opportunities to share my story. Okay. That next day, get a text from Danielle. You want to be on the podcast about this? Yep. Okay. Yep. So, I mean, like, it's just like when you create that spiritually and you have to decide first, okay, this is what I want. I want this change. And then realize no one's going to come and give it to you. And if they do, great. Sometimes that angel will come in and intervene.
You're welcome.
Yeah, exactly. That was good. But ultimately it's in the head that has to start.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think sometimes like we'll look at kids that are teenagers and they might not be on the right path. And then you kind of sometimes think that that's the path that they might always be on, and you don't know really what's going on in their head and what can be the catalyst that makes that change to where like, okay, we're going to switch and go to a different direction.
And I wonder if that's example, like to even hit that home, because I've seen people that they try really hard with their kids. And we were talking about this earlier before the started. The harder you try, it seems like the more they push back or recede. And I have a wonderful mentor, like the most genuine and loving parents ever, right? And all of their kids are just like crazy, like they're wild. And not everyone wants to agree with the parents, but they've done such a good job at being an example. And this is how we do things. Like, for example, not all of them are involved in their church, but every Monday night, the whole family is there and they're doing their family meeting every Monday night because they respect the parents. They look up to them. And even when they're going astray, they're always just like, I love my dad. My dad is the best man that I know. And I'm like, I wonder if that's the secret, is just to inspire others and be just unapologetically successful or happy. It's like the quote that's been attributed to Nelson Mandela and whoever else. It's just like, it's our light, not our darkness, that frightens us most. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and famous? Actually, who are you not to be? You're a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. When you let your own light shine, you unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Well, like that's the key. At least for me, I'm just like, man, that promotes change. I look at people, mentors, like, even Dan Martell, and I'm like, yep, he's living it. He's providing a good example that I can follow. Yeah, not telling me to do anything. I just, I want to be like him, right?
Yeah.
That's why I love when people share that stuff on social media, because I know a lot of times people don't want to share the good on social media and they're not recognition, and I totally understand that. But at the same time, if all that is shared on social media is the negative stuff, the fights and whatever, there's nothing to counter it. It's like when we do the $100 dinner club, right? That you've been part of, and I appreciate that.
That's awesome.
We film it and share it. And yes, there's some people that are haters that are saying, why would you film that? You're looking for recognition. But on the other end, I'll get others that will respond and say, oh, that is awesome. I want to do it myself.
Yeah.
And I just think that there needs to be more of that. Those positive things shared. You're not necessarily doing it for recognition. You're doing it to show the world that, hey, this still exists and it can, and maybe it'll inspire somebody else to do those same things.
I like that.
Like if you go and you pay for lunch for somebody in the car behind you and do it secretive, I understand that one. But if you share it, maybe it'll get 10 other people to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid.
And that's a hard balance, definitely, because there's the people that do it for the recognition.
Yeah.
And then maybe that's where the judgment, but haters are always going to hate, right?
Yeah.
They're going to hate no matter what.
Yeah. And
So
there's
you might
not a
as well
hater
just
out
do it.
there that's successful. So, at least that I've met.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And if that's who you are and you're sharing, I don't see anything wrong with sharing it. And I would rather my feed be nothing but those things.
Yeah.
If it was all just those things, it would inspire a lot of people, and really, I think would be a better place. If all we're looking at is fights and stuff like that, because the algorithm's like, oh, people are interested in that, want to see it.
Yeah.
We're gonna get more of that.
Yeah.
I'm glad that the algorithm knows us too. So you can curate your feed, be more positive,
All those people that are the negative that always post complaints, it's like, block.
It just literally, oh my gosh, you just got to curate your own feed and make sure there's no energy vampires out there trying to steal your shapes, your positivity. It does. Totally.
Yeah. But I think to your point earlier, I think one of the most important things we can do as people and parents, as leaders, is be that example and understand that when we are that example, in their time, they will recognize that, and I think sometimes we try really hard to force, with good intention. But if we force something, then I think that there's negative to it, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if we lead and we are the example, then when they're ready, when they have that moment of clarity, they'll join it, and they'll be inspired. And I think that, if somebody's not ready, so anyways, I really believe that you can lead a sheep to water, but you can't make it drink, right? So if we can be the leader and just be that light, then when people are ready, when our kids are ready, then they'll be there and they'll see that. So
I think that actually answers your earlier question perfectly about what should we do, with these kids that are struggling. Let's just be the example.
Be the example, yeah. And I think that's great. And sometimes it can be hard because you're like, sometimes with the kids, you're like, I just want to choke you out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, a teenager.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Do a loving show, baby.
But sometimes you're like, you have to maintain, be calm and maintain that, and just to be that example. It can have to be challenging. But I think you're right. Like over time, they start to see how you handle those things, and then it's like, okay.
And I think give them opportunity. Give them the opportunities, but don't force them. Like I think there's some times where you have to give them a really good nudge. Be like, nope, you're coming today, or nope, you're joining family home evening, or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
But I think if you give them the opportunity and just show them like, hey, you can stay in your room today, or you can come and join us, and we're gonna have a ton of fun. like, let's do that,
Give
them all the reasons why to instead of why not.
Yeah, there you go.
So was it like from that point forward, just a lot of things changed for you, or was it like a slower process?
And this is something a lot of entrepreneurs will resonate with. I had this for 2 years since this experience where my dad came in and, put his finger on my chest, just grinding. Like, I'm talking waking up at 3 a.m., going to bed at 7:30. Like, friends want to hang out. No, I'm going to go home and I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to do my miracle morning. Like, I was
That's
crazy.
a great book, by the way.
And I suffered a lot of lack of sleep because of that. He's later been on a podcast and basically said, yeah, you need 7-8 hours and fix that. But I was so convinced, like, I don't need sleep. Like, I'm just going to 3 hours a night. Who cares? Yeah. Like, it's just willpower, right?
Yeah.
So I did that for 2 years and I was actually preparing to go serve a mission for my church. So then they shipped me off to South Africa, and the first few months, and I'm like, what's happening? I didn't know what was going on. Like, I was freaking out. Like, I was constantly of this, like, having high blood pressure and like really anxious and like severely depressed. And I didn't know what was going on. And eventually, like, I was there for 8 months and then coronavirus hit and I was sent home and I had a little bit of relief and got some help and stuff. But I'm like, oh my gosh, I just had my first encounter with anxiety, like, and panic attacks. And I didn't know what was happening. So I pushed it so hard that I finally like had some room to breathe, and my body was just like months and months and months of just trauma that was just coming out. And, I came home from my mission and I still was really struggling with that. And it took me a really long time to navigate. But, I never lost that period of my life though. Like, I know what I'm capable of. And like to this day, I've been like trying to emulate that in a healthy way. And since then, it's just been this. It's really low, really high, really low, really high. And it wasn't until even this past month where I realized, okay, the trick to this isn't to be always high or always really low, but it's to be somewhere in the middle, right? Have some consistency. And it finally clicked when my buddy posted on social media and said, routine balances the highs and the lows. Yesterday, I had a really hard day.
I like that.
Like awful day yesterday. And I'm like, right, this is a podcast. Like, why? But then I realized, okay, I'm just going to do my routine. I went to the gym. Really
coming on.
It must have been something. But then today I wake up and I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel amazing. Like, I'm great. And I didn't spiral. And usually it's just like, oh, I'd slip up and I would go into this deep spiral for months, like 6 months of just, waking up, going to Maverick and getting a donut. Like, I don't need donuts. Like, what am I doing every single day? Donut, and some unhealthy beverage, It's just like, and then I just realized, oh, I'm doing better. I knew better. I'm going to do this. I'm going to grind. I'm going to wake up early. Like, it's going to be crazy. And then something happens and then I slip. So.
And I think a lot of people can resonate with that too,
Yeah.
I think I find that with entrepreneurs, I think a lot of times people think that we're just up more often. And I think that we've gotten really good at pretending to be up more often. And that's just how we kind of get through the things and how we make things happen. But really, like, most of the people that I know that are entrepreneurial and have found, really high levels of success, they seem to experience more peaks and valleys, I think, than the average person.
Yeah.
But some are using it as a way of like making things happen. You know what I mean? And I just think, like, because you have to be a little crazy to go through some of the risks that you have as far as being an entrepreneur, right? And so I don't know. That's just what I've found. I think that's a little bit different than what a lot of people would expect. It's like you have those highs and lows, and they're normal. And some of the people that Dan Martell, for example, right, was suicidal or had the gun when he got pulled over in the car, and like just extreme emotions. That's probably it. Emotions are a little more extreme for those who are entrepreneurial, but you've got to figure out a way to, like, let's guide this into a certain direction.
Because it can be helpful, like used as a tool. Like, I was reading this morning and the phrase that stuck out to me was that are you using negativity or failure to grow? And I think that's what separates entrepreneurs from wannabes is, are they actually taking feedback? Where you, like David Goggins, you're downloading information, right? So you're just learning from the pain and growing from it. And I think that's, maybe that'll balance out the highs and lows a little bit better.
Yeah.
But it's like, but we want that. As entrepreneurs, it's the best self-help program out there.
Yeah.
It forces you to grow. Otherwise, your business is going to fail.
And we have really high expectations for ourselves.
Yeah.
That's true.
So I think that's where, there's some extremes that, we constantly expect so much from ourselves. We're overachievers.
Yeah.
And so when we're not achieving, then it's easy to fall into that pit, But I honestly feel like what's helped me is just having those mentors, right? Like I love self-development. And so I have my go-to books that like I've literally read 4 times because I don't have to like sit there and think when I'm reading them. They just feed me, right? And so they'll feed me enough to like lift me up out of the pit just a little bit that I can be like, okay, I'm good, right? Like I can get the rest of the way out. But just having that thing, whether it's books or whether it's nature, whether it's meditating, whatever it is, like knowing what your thing is, I think is the key to like that consistency in emotion.
Yeah. I think anxiety can be a superpower because I noticed for me, I've always had higher levels of anxiety, but when it's up there a little bit, like it makes you move. It makes you do something, right?
Well, a healthy anxiety.
Yes.
Or it doesn't.
For me, it does.
Uh-huh.
But if I have periods where there's just like nothing, like I'm lazy.
Yeah.
I don't want to do anything.
It's like, I'm good.
I just want to sleep in and sit here and do whatever. So but it took a while for me to recognize that, like, oh, there's a way to use this to make me do something that maybe I wouldn't normally want to do, So I don't know. I think it's reframing it. You can reframe it and make it help you.
Yeah.
Right.
So I just have to ask before we move on, have you had a conversation with your dad about that moment? I imagine you have. Did you tell him like, hey, did you know that you're the angel and you have a superpower with your finger? So anytime I need that, just poke.
Yeah. No, for real. And it was inside. I didn't tell him until maybe 6 months after.
Oh.
Turns out he had a lunch with a friend the day before, and basically just said, I don't know what to do. Nate has just gone off the deep end and he doesn't listen to me. I don't know what to do. Buddy just said, you just need to pray for him to, have that faith in your heart that it'll be okay. Like he was throwing up his hands the day before. Wow. And like who would have thought that the next day it was a complete 180. It was a complete 180.
I think so when you talk about that story, it makes me think of something that I think so many of us are, if we listen and we pay attention to that intuition, inspired action, I think a lot of us, if we actually take action when we feel or think those thoughts, we would do so many great things.
Yeah.
But I think for most of us, we hear it and then we ignore it.
Yeah.
And it's there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
If your dad would have ignored that, imagine where your life would be at right now.
I definitely wouldn't be here.
So I think that's important for us to remember is like when you hear that inspired action, you feel that moment, take action. Like take action. Because it can be between life and death or, pursuing your dreams or falling into a pit. Like you never know who it's going to impact, like what it's going to impact. So I say, you feel it, act. And I try and remind myself of that.
Yeah.
Because I've become very aware of when I have those inspired moments. So.
And then you lose it if you don't.
Yeah. You start ignoring it if you don't take action. So,
Paulo Coelho wrote an amazing, my favorite book. Talks about listening to your heart. Yeah. Like you get sick after a while. It's like, if you're not listening to me, then I'm going to stop talking to you.
Exactly.
It's there for a reason. Yeah. That's awesome.
And that is The Alchemist.
I love that book. I can read that 1,000 times. It's just so deep. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this guy was just inspired beyond all measure.
Yeah.
Great book.
So when you came back, how long between when you came back and then you started the business that you have now?
So come home from my mission, and like this is just post COVID, right? Like just absolute weird fever dream, right? So I'm like, oh, I could do real estate. And I was obsessed with real estate. I'm like, I'm going to be a real estate mogul. So I was trying to do that. But then the Christmas lights kept popping up. And I'm like, oh, I need to make money. So I'll just do Christmas lights this one more time. This will be the last year I do it. And then like all summer, I would just be real estate. And then like I just kept falling back on the lights thing. And I've been, in very inspired moments, I've had it confirmed to me that I'm a child of light. Like that's part of my identity. So I'm like, I must be falling back in this lighting thing for a reason, because I've spun my wheels so much with real estate. I still love it. Like we have 2 properties. We got a personal residence and a rental. It's not life changing to the point where, we're making all this money. But the thing that I was stuck with was the lighting. I'm like, okay, if this is who I am, like I'm just going to jump in with both feet. So 2 years after I got home from my mission, I finally just like parted ways with that company I was working with.
The one where you were an installer?
Yeah, installer. So here in Southern Utah, I was installing for them. Yeah, and they were great. I just kind of like capped out. Like I just want to do some more. So I maxed out all of my credit cards, and
Nice.
I just spoke with Chinese manufacturers, and I just hoped and prayed that I could figure out how to make my own product. And all it took was
Everything.
everything, right? I'm talking like midnight. I'm up until midnight on my phone, just like putting together spreadsheets. Like I was texting people for like hours at a time, just like, do you want lights? Do you want lights? Do you want anyone I knew? Like I was talking about, do you know any friends that have any friends that want lights? All my Christmas light clients, luckily I had 5 of them that were like, yeah, let's do it. So it was a really good transition, but like such an imposter. We were living in this 1-bedroom apartment at the time. So we had a little girl, like less than a year old. And then me and my wife in this little 1-bedroom apartment. I'm on my couch just like, we're going to go broke. We're going to go broke. I was freaking out. And then, after about 6 months, I paid off that initial investment. And I'm like, okay, this thing has legs. We can push it. And yeah, it's been good trying to figure all that out. And
So just so you know, every entrepreneur is an imposter when they start.
isn't that weird? How you feel? It's like, oh, I'm such a loser. And like, God, I'm not.
You're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to make this work? I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I mean, we all start that way. That's why it's like, it's funny when people like idolize, because you're like, really, they're just a person who just kept going and made it work. And had no idea what they're doing when they started.
They were afraid the first time too.
It's like most startups. You're like, man, they're so innovative. They're so like strong. They're so, but meanwhile in their meetings, they're like, we have no idea what the hell's going on, but we're just going to try this and hope it works. Right. And I'm sure that's a good attitude to have every little bit.
That's what it is. Everybody, even billionaires, that's how they approach things. Like, we don't know if it's going to work. We're just going to try it out and see if it works.
Yeah. It's a calculated risk, right? It's like, oh, we've got information that we can use. I guess if you're strategic, if you just want to be reckless.
So you left the other company, and then did you have kind of a little bit of time frame before you started this one? Was that like your research phase? Like,
yeah, I had an unfair advantage where I kind of already knew the industry.
Good.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys out there that are wanting to get in this, and it's hot right now. Like the industry is just like blowing up. People are starting dealerships left and right, but they don't have, 1, the experience, and 2, the industry knowledge and wisdom that comes from, I've been doing this for 5 years, the permanent lights. There's a lot that goes into it. It wasn't until I think, even now I'm still learning and growing, but by the end of this year, I think we're finally like, man, we've got everything like dialed in,
Yeah.
right? And that's 2 years of me doing it. So anyway, the thing now that I've really been trying to push is like helping these people do a high quality job, have the best resources, have, someone that can walk them through it.
Yeah.
And then not have to go through that 2-year period of just trying to figure it out on their own.
Yeah.
Right. So it's been good.
So you left, and then when you started, you thought, okay, I've got to figure out, I need to figure out the product.
Yeah.
I need to figure out how to have some of these made.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
So what was that process like? Are you researching YouTube, like trying to figure this out? Like, what was that process like?
Trial and error. So working with manufacturers, getting samples, testing it out, ordering on Amazon willy-nilly. Like I just ordered so much product because I just didn't know what it was going to look like. And eventually this thing started falling into place. And it's just crazy how it works out. You just put your whole heart out there, like in The Alchemist, you start following your mission, and all of a sudden, these omens start popping up and you start being guided to where you need to go and what to do.
So you use the credit cards to just buy a bunch of different options, like different types of them, and just try to figure out, okay, what can I make work?
Yeah. And I mean, I have so many cool stories of how things fall into place. But for example, the track, you can order track from China, the aluminum profile, but it's just, you can't really order in bulk because every house is a different color. And if you do order, you order raw, and then you have to paint it, which, oh my goodness, I've spent so many hours painting track and it's just laborious. So I'm like, there's got to be another way. So I contacted all these different manufacturers in the US. Okay, can you make this track like pre-painted, pre-formed, whatever? And like everyone was just trying to overcharge, or they didn't know what I was talking about, and just nothing worked. Eventually I got connected with somebody who is manufacturing here in Utah. Oh, this is sweet. This is great. And then now I have a high quality track. Perfect. I got high quality lights. Good. Got a high quality box. Perfect. I'm installing by myself. I'm just grinding, right? Trying to like get all these houses done in 110-degree Southern Utah heat in July, right? I'm okay. I need to hire people and do this and do that. I'm just completely exhausted. And I meet with this guy who just phones me out of the blue. Like, hey, come check out my house. So I go meet with him. Turns out he owns this like big commercial construction company. He's like, you could probably make this track yourself. I'm like, yeah, I know, I probably could, blah, blah, blah. And I just don't know how. And he's just like, let me make a few phone calls. We made like 3 or 4 phone calls, found a supplier, found the machine. And we're now ordering and going to start making our own track. And I'm like, oh, but we need a warehouse. And he's just like, oh, it's okay. We'll just go build one in the backyard. I'm like, what? That's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, now we need a new product. We need this new product. And he's like, yeah, it's cool. Like, let's just do it. Let's just go meet with them. So then my China suppliers flew in. We met with them both face to face. He's like this electrical genius and is just doing all these like figures and like, oh, we need to do this, this, and this. So now we're upgrading our product here soon, which is really exciting. So we're going to have in-house manufacturing. We're going to have an upgraded product and a warehouse, all because like all these, just me not stop trying, getting connected with this guy and locally. And it turned out to be,
works out.
can't even plan it.
Get out.
I love that because I think sometimes people will, like, if they have an idea and they want to start a business, they might look at the product and they might think, I could never do that.
Yeah.
But really, it's like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that to start. You've got to do like what you did, where you're like, I'm going to look on Amazon, I'm going to look on maybe Alibaba or whatever. But hopefully I got that one right.
We're done, yeah.
I'm going to look on whatever. I'm going to get all this raw material together and I'm going to see if I can kind of tinker with it and figure it out. And then I'm going to get something that works and then I'll improve it from that point.
Yeah.
Right.
Just scary.
Yeah.
Like
It's all scary.
I'm scared to like go visit my first installs. I'm just like, oh, it was high quality install, but I'm definitely like, but if you don't have that, if you're not ashamed of your first iteration, then you probably didn't start soon enough.
Yeah.
No, that is so true. Like, I think if you're not kind of how ashamed of what it was like a year ago, you didn't make enough improvement, right? I mean, watch our first episodes of the podcast. I was like, I don't want anybody to watch those. And then I'm like, that's the whole process. That's the whole point of it, is like, our audio, like when these guys fixed a lot of our audio was messed up. Our video was messed up. Like, I didn't even know what questions to ask, right? I didn't know about what energy to have, right? We had somebody that had a really cool story and I was like, stone face.
Oh,
and then I watched it back and I was like, don't have a stone face. When yes, I have a really cool story.
Yeah.
But that's how you learn. It's not going to be perfect at the very beginning. And if you put that pressure on yourself, like, oh, I've got to get all this stuff perfect, then you don't start. You got to start, screw up, fine, and you'll get better.
It's like the C+ grade work, you just get it out there and then change it from there. And I'm an overthinker. I don't know about you guys, but like maybe that's an entrepreneur thing. Like sometimes you just think too much. You just got to do it.
Visionary type things.
Analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can go down a rabbit hole of thinking and trying to make it perfect, but eventually, like, you need to just take action. Yeah. And you actually learn more from taking action than you do by thinking.
Oh man, if I would have taken more action that first year, for example, I thought I knew everything and I was just copying, right? I wasn't reinventing the wheel, but I am just copying exactly what I was used to. Like, oh, like this company did this, I just want it exactly. And I thought the whole time I'm in the right, mine's the best product, boom, boom, boom. It wasn't until this recent visit with China where they're like, oh no, actually there's a better product out there. And you actually could have done it this different way to make it even better. And technically I was doing it, I don't want to say wrong, because it's they still are working and still are, really bright and installed correctly. But I didn't even realize, oh my gosh, for the first little bit, I just thought I knew everything. I thought the product was where it needed to be. But, it just, these new things keep popping up where it's just like, man, there's something else out there. Yeah. And if you think you're the best and you don't ever change anything, then you're just going to fall behind.
Yeah.
Like, you can only be the best if you're constantly improving.
You got to be chasing something.
Yeah, exactly. Always.
Yeah. So that's good. I think a lot of people see that as like a bad thing, but I see it as a good thing that if you make so much progress like there and you look at your old ones and you're like,
Yeah,
that's okay. It's not a bad thing, you know? You just made so much progress.
I guess that's part of owning a business.
Yeah. And it'll probably be like that for you 2 years from now.
Mhm.
You'll be like, oh, those ones that we did 2 years ago, thought they were great, but
Yeah.
but these ones now are even better, right? And it's just because
Uh-huh.
you're improving. You're constantly looking at how do we make it better? How do we make it more efficient? How do we make it cheaper? How do we make it cooler? How do we,
Yeah. Which is why customer service is very important in our business.
Yeah.
Because I just got a text line, and obviously it just makes me kind of sad. But like, I got a text yesterday, and this whole street, they're like, "Oh, we don't know how to use our lights. Like, they're all malfunctioning. All these things are happening." And I'm just like, you know, there's a lot of people out there that would just completely ghost you. But luckily, I'm just like, you know what? Even if this was our first iteration when I was just starting, I'm still going to go back out there. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to upgrade it. I'm going to, educate and do all these things. And all of a sudden, we're good as new. So the thing that I was overthinking for so many years of, is the product going to be good enough? Is it going to be exactly what we need? Now, it's showing me 2 years later that, there's some issues, some bugs, but I can just go back and fix it now. If I didn't make the jump, then it would be, sitting there in my chair just.
Well, and if
donuts.
you think about it, I mean, the way you said that just made me think like you have all of these different software upgrades constantly.
Yeah.
Like Apple is constantly like upgrading like their software, their hard, it's like it's always an upgrade. And so if they had it right the first time, they wouldn't have any upgrades.
Oh, that's a good point.
So the thing is they're starting, and then as they go, they're learning, and then they upgrade, right? And that's fixing the bugs that the previous versions had. So you're never going to have a perfect model. I mean, we're constantly upgrading ourselves, from, well, I'm going to say 5.0, but just kidding. But I mean, we're constantly upgrading our operating system, right? Like how we think, how we feel, like how our emotions are controlled. Like if we're constantly growing then and learning, and then we can constantly upgrade ourselves. So I think that's just how life works. We're just constantly in upgrade mode.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not a bad
That's
thing.
insightful.
Yeah.
The product and the business owner are the
Exactly.
same.
Yeah.
And what was it that I was on? People that get asked, I'm not at that point, but people that are very successful, they get asked, like, when's enough enough? I'm like, you're definitely not an entrepreneur
It's never.
because there's no destination.
Right.
It's just that software update, And to me, like, I don't know what your guys' why is, but this past month, I just figured out what mine was. And mine is to create, to be a creator. That's my why. It's because through creation, I'm growing. I know the 10-year from now, Nate, I know what he looks like. I know what his business looks like. Like, I have a very clear vision on who that is. And I'm like, my whole goal isn't to have, $1 million, a Cybertruck, a big house. That's not my goal, is to have. My goal is to be. I want to be a millionaire. I want to be successful. I want to be a good father. And like, the only way to do that is through iteration. Every single day you're asking yourself, how do I become better than I was yesterday? And enough will never be enough. Because once I'm a millionaire, guess what my next goal is going to be? Oh, let's do 100 million. And that's not because I need more money. It's because, hey, if you stop growing, then you're never going to be that person that you want to be. That is.
Go ahead. I was gonna say that is so true, because I know when I was a kid, I'd have all these things written like, oh, I want to be a millionaire, right? And I'd have all these things, and I was like, this was my plan, and I was putting together all of these things to make it happen. And then the day it happened, I remember I sent my dad a screenshot of it, and you can't like go, hey, I made it, I'm a millionaire,
Yeah.
And this was a decade ago, and I sent it over to my dad, and I was like, oh, I made it. And so he was proud of me and all that. Like he was the only one I shared it with. Well, I went through this time frame for about a year after, where it was like, what now? You go for 2? Like, that doesn't seem, it's not as impactful. I've been working for this moment since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And now I'm here, and I don't know what to do going forward.
Yeah.
And it took a while to kind of figure that out. But then the thing that made kind of a switch for me that became important and now is important, and that's part of the reason, like, we have this and we have some other things, is the importance became not so much the money, but the impact on other people. So now it's like chasing impact. How can I help people get to either that level or something else? Or how can I help them grow? Or how can I help them succeed? Or how can I, you know what I mean? So then it's like, now I get to relive that same thing, but not through me. It's through helping the others. But it took a while to do that, you know. And you hear of the people that I have a friend that sold his business for several million, and after that, he actually went through a period of depression.
Yeah.
You think it's
That
like
is so creative.
it's exciting, but you put so much time and energy and intent into this purpose, and then when it's there, now what?
So do you feel like it's just the wrong, I don't want to say the wrong goal, but like the wrong mindset as to why you're doing it maybe? Like because my goal as a kid would be like, oh, I want to have $1 million. And was that kind of the same for you? It was just like, well, now I have it.
Mm-hmm.
So then now I need to figure out my why.
I don't know if it was that. I think part of it was my circle, right? So I had at that point, I had always been the one in my circle that had the most, right? Most of my family was paycheck to paycheck. And so when I got there, it was more of a feeling of maybe guilt than excitement. I was excited for a moment there. Then I felt guilty because I had, still family that was struggling, and, and here it's like, I just made $100,000 last month, and it's like, but they're still struggling, So it was kind of more around guilt. But then once I started making more friends that were on a different level, then it started to make it feel more normal. Like, oh, this is okay. This isn't bad to do this. Like it's okay. And even if I have family that's still struggling, either they don't have the same knowledge that I do, or they don't have the same drive. And so it's okay. Right? It's not a reflection of me if they're still struggling, but I can help them. Maybe I can help them elevate to that next level. Does that make sense? But it was the circle that kind of helped to change that. And I started to elevate the friend group and start this. Then it's like it reignited that path.
So this is after you made the million, your first million?
Yeah.
Okay.
A few years after.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There was that time frame where it was like, what do I do? What now? What do I go for? I don't know what to go for. Do I go for a bigger house? I don't really care about a bigger house.
Bigger box to live in.
And I think, and I think part of it is like, it's good to have goals, but goals aren't the destination. Like goals are just a marker along the way. And so you have to, once you meet a goal, you need to make another goal. Like you have to continue to make those goals and continue to upgrade. But what I was going to say earlier is there's a really good book called The Gap and the Gain. And in that they talk about like, all of us have this like destination, right? Like, but we can never actually get to the destination because it continues to move. Like it keeps pushing out. We want more. But we need to remember that we should measure ourselves backwards. How far have we come from 6 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago? And we need to appreciate the progress and, celebrate the progress. And I think that that's really important, not only for ourselves, but also for the people in our lives and for those around us. Like measure their progress backwards. Like how far have they come? How much effort have they made? Because then it will give you a lot more appreciation and gratitude for those events that are happening, the progress that people make, the effort, So I think that's a really important thing to remember is just on our journey, remember to measure backwards.
That's a good point. Cause like if you measure backwards for you when you were 16 and 17, cause you're young, you're much younger than we are. But if you look at that, it's like, wow, how much has life changed in that short time frame? And now I've got this super cool business. I've got some other people wanting my product, which we can talk about in a moment. I'm on podcasts. I'm starting to do some public speaking stuff, right? We're going to bring that. You're going to start getting into some of that. And it's like, how cool is it? And it's not like it's a ton of time, right? Yeah. But there was something that switched and there was little steps each day.
And remember that in darkness.
Yeah. Yeah.
In those dark moments, remember how far you've come.
I think that's very insightful, and maybe a lot of entrepreneurs would benefit from that too. Just to remember how far you've come. Yeah. Like 16-year-old self would be so proud of you.
Right.
Like, you got a partner, you got a wife, you have kids. Like, holy cow! Like that's great. You have a business. Like, back when you were 16, you just wanted a Lamborghini or a big house or a big family, whatever. And then like now you're just like, man, I could do those things. Like I'm an adult now. I can go stay up late. Like it's just. What you think would be cool to a 16-year-old is just, we take for granted now. Like, you wake up in your 5-6 bedroom house and you're like, oh, I don't feel like working today. And it's like, heck, like look around and look how far we come. And then also look into the future and then also, enjoying the present.
Yeah. And one of the things as a parent that is a good way to teach your kids is, a lot of us get in the moment of like, oh, you're so beautiful, or oh, you're so smart. Instead, if you were to say, hey, you worked really hard at that. Like, I'm really proud of the progress you've made, or I'm really proud of the fortitude and not giving up. Those are the things that we need to highlight with our kids is like, if they just think, oh, I'm so smart, like that's a gift. Like,
They don't have control over it.
Yeah. So, but if, in the same thing, like if we think about that with ourselves, like I'm so proud of myself for all the effort I made in doing the thing. Right. So then it's like, we can have more gratitude. We can understand that like
I'm going to do that.
It takes a lot of push, right?
I think I need to do that. That's probably something I'm missing right now. That felt good to listen to.
Yeah.
What was that first year like? So we know we talked about the first couple of months where you're like, I'm going to text everybody that I know.
Yeah.
Like, do you need lights? Do you want lights? Do you have a friend that wants lights? And then what was that first year like?
Chaos. And I had just been diagnosed with ADHD. Turns out entrepreneurs, it's a pretty common thing, right? So I took it as, oh, there's something wrong with me. This whole first year, I'm thinking there's something wrong. So add on top of that, starting a business, I'm pretty high strung. So then I get on my ADHD, medication, right? Because that's what you do if you have ADHD. And for 2 weeks, I was like, man, this is a superpower. I can work for 8 hours. This is crazy. Like, I'm just like, feel like I'm on Interstellar or something, solving whatever, And, obviously I kind of crashed out and, with amphetamines, usually you have you're angry and you're a little bit more short fused and a lot more stressed out. And I was just like, okay, so if I have ADHD and this medication isn't helping me, and I'm just trying to start this business, it's really stressful. Like I got a young family. I'm trying to buy my first house or whatever else it is. And I don't remember who I heard it from, but then I just realized, oh my gosh, there's other people that are going through this too. And when I realized that there's nothing wrong with me, and I'm like, oh, other people have ADHD. Oh, other people, started off in their tiny house and just grinding. Okay, cool. I kind of feel like I can do this now. So, that was the whole first year, is just figuring that out.
Yeah. Just name it for what it is. You're just an energizer squirrel collecting its nuts.
That's a good way to put it too.
Sometimes though, you think that you're on an island, you're the only one going through it, and you don't realize that like everybody. That's part of the reason why we've done this. Is like, and a lot of people that you see that are highly successful, they've gone through it. Like it wasn't like it just came. It was just this straight line method. There were some major challenges there.
Yeah, and that's why social media is difficult. Well, it was difficult for me because
it's all the highlight reel,
all the highlights, all the good stuff. Like Hormozy, for example, he doesn't really talk about the bad as much as he does. Just work hard, doing good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, how does he do it? How do you get it? I'm like, I'm sure he has some dark days.
Oh, for sure.
I'm sure. And it wasn't until I moved here to Southern Utah that I realized, talking with Justin Morgan and Jeff Lewis and all them, I'm like, oh, like you guys are just like me, I'm just going through it, right? 10 years ahead, 20 years ahead. And I think that's just the trick, is you get around people as much as you possibly can, because that's what helped me.
Yeah, you need those people to motivate you, that light you up, and help you push through to that next stage.
Seems achievable at that point. Not somebody on a screen that you don't know.
Well, and like minds, right? Like, birds of a feather flock together. But I think it's so cool to get around people who think like you, Like I was talking to Spencer yesterday, and we're just like, he's telling me about this cool thing he's doing. And I'm like, oh, but you could do this. He's like, I already did it. I'm like, oh, but you could do this. Oh, I'm already doing that. I'm like, see, we just think so much alike. But it's so fun to like get around people who think like you. So
just this energy, it just creates something beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you've got this hat.
Yeah.
Kilimanjaro.
Yeah.
And I know I've heard there's a story there.
Yeah. That was insightful. So the first big life change happened at 17 with my dad.
Okay.
And coming home for that first year, this is right up to where, Kilimanjaro comes into play. I was trying to figure out who I am, like just feeling alone, feeling like there's, not much hope, and I'm just grinding, getting through it. And luckily I just on a whim decided to go to this trip. climb Kilimanjaro. I'm like, oh, that sounds doable, right? Sounds really cool. And I've been to Africa a lot of times too. So I was like, this would be a good trip. And 6 months of not training, just being anxious, like, oh man, like I need to be training, I need to be training. So like a month before I'm gonna go on this hike, because they say you need to prepare physically, right? I'm like, oh, I'm gonna sign up for CrossFit. So sign up for CrossFit. I do it for a month and I'm just like, okay, I'm ready. I did CrossFit for a month, let's go. And I show up and it's 8 days hiking.
Oh my God.
And I think it's 7 days up and then like a day and a half down, something like that. But it's really slow. So like the first little bit, it's like you'll hike 1,000 feet or 2,000 feet, and then you'll camp 500 feet below that. So that way you can acclimate,
Yeah.
right? So it's really slow moving, but still I'm just like, why am I so tired? And I talked to the guide and he's just like, did you train? And I'm like, yeah, I trained. I did CrossFit. He's like, no, you need to be hiking. I'm like,
Altitude.
oh my gosh. Like, so I didn't prepare as much as I thought I should have, right? So, you know, we're just climbing. It's pretty doable, but nothing that's not, you know, I'm not able to do. I don't even know how to say that. It was doable, okay? Until we get to base camp. So the peak of Kilimanjaro is like 19,500 feet or something like that. And that's what Everest base camp is at.
Oh my
So, you know, Mount Everest is 30,000 feet, base camp's 20,000 feet. And I'm like, oh, this shouldn't be bad. The peak is base camp for Everest, right? But you climb the majority of the mountain on summit day. You climb 5,000 feet in one day.
Wow.
So they're like prepping us. We're out in our
That's almost
tents.
1 mile vertical.
It's crazy,
Wow.
right? And even to make it worse, at like lunchtime, they said, eat lunch and go try to sleep. Try to sleep? It's lunchtime. We're going to knock on your tent at 12 a.m. and then we're going to go summit. So that way we can get there in, you know, time for sunrise and that. So
Wow.
all right, trying to sleep, get a knock on my tent. We're going. We're not allowed to take more than like 15 pounds in our backpack. Okay. Our porters are with us that are carrying a lot of the heavy stuff and stuff that we need to bring up. This little headlamp, and there's just a line of like hundreds of people.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Flashlights on, like it's quiet. There's hiking. And we're going 1 foot in front of the other. Okay. 1 foot in front of the other, just super slow because it's like 45 degrees steep.
Wow.
And it's exhausting. Like literally 2 hours in, I was like, I can't do this. I cannot do this.
And you've only got 15 pounds on your pack.
Yeah. And that 15 pounds, that's pretty heavy at that altitude. So we're gaining altitude quick, right? And I think it might have been like when we got to 17,000, 18,000 feet, when I'm just like, I was completely exhausted, completely done. And then I get a whiff of some European guy smoking a cigarette. I'm like, oh, and I'm just barfing everywhere. I'm like, no. And then this girl behind me sees me barfing and she starts barfing. It was out of the movie. And then like I hear another guy up there start barfing and I'm like, oh, this isn't good. So I'm just like, you know, completely at my wit's end. And then in that moment, I like had to make this decision of like, do I keep going? And if so, how? Or do I give up? I'm like, no way. I just spent all this money to come here. I'm going to climb this mountain. And I just started like giving myself a mantra. And I'm like, does this feel right? Does this feel right? And the mantra was like, I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me. I'm like, yeah, I can do all things. I can do all things. I can do all things. Love it. Whole way up, I'm hiking up this mountain, right? And I get to the top and the guy just starts talking about how everyone was throwing up and he was laughing about it. He's like, very normal, very normal. Everyone gets sick, very normal. He said, I say, just give it all back to the mountain. Give it back to the mountain. The mountain will take what you are here to leave. I was like, you know what?
How many people have thrown up on that trail?
Yeah, I don't know, a lot, right?
Good thing it's dark.
Normal. And so it's just, that to me was just so insightful because I'm like, you know what? I have an opportunity here to give it all to the mountain. Yeah. And coming back from that trip, it was just, I just realized, okay, my potential in life is directly tied to my mindset. I would not have been able to climb that mountain without the proper mindset. You know, I even had a tent partner that helped me navigate this experience in my life of, man, I'm just an awful person. I'm struggling. I'm trying to start this business, trying to support a family. And he said, the 10-year future self, is he 100 million or is he a millionaire? I'm like, yeah, of course he is. So, okay, what about the 5-year future self? I'm like, yeah, he's a millionaire. And he's like, so that's you, right? I'm like, yeah, that's me. He's like, so you're a millionaire.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
And he's just like, you need to believe that with 100% certainty.
I
And
love that.
that just, ever since I got home, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I've been missing. I feel like there's always something we feel like we're missing in business. But if there's one thing in general it needs to be, is belief in your future self.
Yeah.
Have complete clarity in who you are and just believe that with 100% certainty. And you can climb the mountain. You can do amazing things in your life.
I agree. And I think those types of experiences, like what you had there, are crucial to have and then to overcome, because when you're sitting on that mountain and everything in your body is saying, give up. Yeah. So every sign, like people say, you got to follow the sign. Every sign is saying, give up. Yeah. But there's something in you that says, no, I'm not giving up. I'm going to go. And then once you start saying, like you had your mantra, like, do this, I can do this. And you keep repeating that, it's like suddenly the body becomes energized again. You push through that stuff that maybe you wouldn't have before. So I think it's good to have those experiences, and you have them frequently, because then you train the mind that, hey, when things get tough, we flip a switch and we change the mindset a little bit and we chug. Keep chugging.
That's insightful.
So yeah, that's awesome. I like that. That's a cool experience.
Yeah, you guys got to go do it sometime.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I just put that on my bucket list.
Yeah.
I had never even thought about doing that.
I don't think I would do Everest, but
I'm going to, you guys are welcome to come, Everest Base Camp. They let you go to base camp. Obviously, it's a death wish to go up to the top, which I would never do that.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's about the same elevation. So in
cool.
September through October, they allow people to hike to base camp
okay,
in the off season.
that's a great idea.
So
When you do it, right?
it's in September.
Oh, really? That would be.
It's a big group. So I mean, hey, you guys didn't want to do that. That'd be sweet.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I might have to do that.
Yeah, we can consider it. So what's next for Glow Smart? I wanted to talk a little bit about you've been manufacturing your own product, and you're starting now to have other people that are interested in it because it's so good, right? Can you talk a little bit about that and kind of how that came about?
Yeah. Going back to, following your heart, I always knew like I was supposed to teach or guide, or, there's just this pull of like, I needed to be bigger. I needed to learn how to public speak. I needed to learn how to push myself out of my comfort zone, and just happened to be lighting. So I put myself out there and I just started posting on social media like hardcore. Like the past year, we've just been really hitting social media hard. And all in this whole while in the back of my mind, like I need to help other people. I need to help other people. I need to help other people. And then I just get random messages, phone calls. Guy from Canada phone calls me out of nowhere. Hey, I need to fly you up here. I'm going to buy product from you. You're going to help my guys install and know how to do it. I'm just going to start this business.
Oh, wow.
So we did that. All from a YouTube video I posted.
That's crazy.
I got 3 other people, messaging me on Instagram saying, hey, can you teach me how to do it? And I says, yeah, let's hop on a phone call. Let's do this. Let's do that. And it turns out there's a lot of people that have these questions, but no one knows where to turn to. You can't search on Reddit, really. You can't really take advice from, people in China because they're not the ones installing it.
Right.
So there's just this big, opportunity here to start teaching people how to do high quality work with a tried and true product, and, have those resources to be able to do it yourself. Because my biggest fear is that all these competitors come into the market that are doing sloppy work, because then it just makes everyone else look bad. Right.
So this kind of makes sense now with what you were like trying to figure out a course. And now the course is teaching people how to start their own light install business, and then they source the product through you. Which is what
a lot of what you were saying earlier. It was just like, hey, when I started looking for ways to help other people, that's when I kind of found a little bit more purpose.
Yes.
Like I'll create competitors all day, as long as it means that I'm able to have a bigger impact in the whole industry. Like the rising tide raises all ships. So that's kind of the goal now, is to just help as many people as possible to get a profitable lighting company with reliable manufacturing and lots of resources to help troubleshoot issues that they may run into.
That's awesome.
Sweet. You'll start seeing your product nationwide.
Yeah. I'm talking Home Depot. We're looking into, Sprinkler World, like in all these places in here. Like it should be pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you.
That is awesome, man. Well, Nate, thanks so much for coming on here. I'm excited. I know we could talk for hours, and
Clearly.
we could keep going. I know we went a little over, and that's okay. We had a good time though. So, but thanks again for coming out. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep.